G'day everyone, welcome back to the food room. My name is Mrs. Herbert and today we're going to be cooking chicken and corn triangles. So in order to get started, the first thing we need to do is make sure our hygiene is sorted. So I have my hair up, I have an apron on, and I've been over to the sink and I've washed my hands for 20 seconds or I've sung the happy birthday song. That's how long we are encouraging students to wash their hands for. So our recipe today requires us to put our oven on to 200. So I've already put it on to 200 and I've turned the fan on, and that's going to be preheating while we're getting our ingredients ready. What we are going to do is we're going to get our meats and vegetables prepared first before we turn any of our heat on. I'm going to run over the ingredients that we need for our chicken and corn triangles today. We need a rasher of bacon, a quarter of an onion that will be diced up, and we'll put some of that oil, a teaspoon of oil, into the fry pan. I think that'll probably just be a splash today. And 100 grams of chicken meats. We're also going to add to that some grated carrot that will be peeled and washed and then grated. And then we'll also add half a stick of celery. We've got some cheese, a quarter of a cup of grated cheese, and we'll add some creamed corn in there, which will also be a quarter of a cup, as well as a tablespoon of the barbecue sauce. And then we've got an egg over there for our glazing. We're also going to grab a couple of sheets of the puff pastry. So we're going to start by cutting up our bacon, and I'm going to use a very sharp knife, and we're going to cut that up nice and finely. Go the other way. Don't need to do anything to our mince because that's been packed up into the correct weight, so that will just go straight into the fry pan. The next one we're going to move over to do, come on in Harry, is cut up our onion. So I'm going to take some of that skin off, and that goes straight into our food scrap container that we have sitting on our benches for students. Awesome, trying to peel the onion and it breaks off while I'm trying to do the movie. Goes in the food scrap container. And we're going to dice up our onion. One way. Now I look pretty fancy doing this, but I was taught well. We're going to grab our carrot, and we're looking at doing half a carrot. Once your carrot's been washed, I don't peel them, but of course if you want to peel them, you're very welcome to do that. When you're using the grater, you want to make sure that you've got the largest side of the grater, and you've got to keep an eye on your fingers that they don't get grated in there as well. That happens from time to time. And then I'm going to have a go at doing my onion. Oh my gosh. My onion actually looks like celery, just in case you're wondering. That's going to go one way, and then the other. All right, so my ingredients are ready to go before we turn our heat on. I'm going to grab some oil. Now in our recipe it does say a teaspoon of oil, but today I reckon we will put a splash in the fry pan. And then I'm going to move back over to my stove area and turn that on. Now because we're only doing a little bit of bacon, students will want to crank that up because it's cool, but we really only need to have, we need to get it warm, but it needs to be, it doesn't have to be too high. Oh my goodness, it's taken me ages to turn from the heat down. Okay, then I'm going to grab my green board, use the back of my knife, and I'm going to put my onion in. I'll give that a couple of minutes, give it a stir, and then I will add my chicken mince. Okay, so our onion is cooking along beautifully. We're going to add our bacon. And we're going to add our chicken mince. Oh, that's already smelling lovely. Can you smell it, viewers? Now, we want to break that up while that's cooking, but it'll take a couple of minutes to cook. Okay, so we've got our onion, our bacon, our chicken, our carrot and celery all cooking nicely in there, and now I'm going to move that over to a large bowl. Now the reason I'm putting it into a bowl is I have a few more ingredients to add, but then I also am going to let it cool down. Turn that heat off. So I'm going to add our creamed corn. And then I'm going to add our cheese. Now our recipe did ask for a tablespoon of barbecue sauce, but I think today it's going to be a squirt. One, a bit more. Do that up. Going to give that a stir. It's looking good, smells great. So sorry you're not with me to have some. But my filmer person will enjoy having some. Move the camera up and down, as in yes. Yes. Okay, now just to try to get that cooling, I'm gonna spread that round in a large metal bowl. And I'm just gonna have a look at our pastry. So our pastry, we've got 2 sheets of puff pastry. I think it's puff pastry. Now, what you've got to be careful of with your pastry is separating it. So I'm just going to grab a knife and ever so carefully, does it break? Yeah, sure it breaks sometimes, but it's pretty good. There we go. And I'm going to sit that on my board. Now we're going to use some egg for glazing. So I'm breaking my egg in there, and that will go in my food scrap container. I'm going to whisk up my egg. And I will come back and show you once my mixture is cooled and my pastry is a little bit defrosted. So we've come back now after we've done some of our dishes and cleaned some of our work area. And our mixture is a little bit cooler and our pastry is ready for us to cut. So the first thing we're doing is we're cutting it into quarters. You don't have to measure anything. I'll do so. And then we will start to put them all together. Going to grab our egg that we've already whisked and run that around all the edges. Don't forget to do in the middle, because I've been known to do that and then, you know, it doesn't stick together so well. Thanks. Now I'm not quite sure how much mixture, how many triangles we're going to get today. So I think from memory it was 8, but we might not. So hopefully I haven't wasted the pastry sheet. It's like painting a canvas. Did I do that one? Oop. Put some in there. Oh, heaps. Oh, lots of orders. Cool. So what you might not have seen is my food assistant with me, because we weren't sure about how many triangles we were going to make, she's actually divided the bowl into 4 sections. So that way we can, you know, if you're working with a class, the students get an even amount. It's not one kid getting a whole heap more. And then we know how much ingredient we have to go across all of the pastries. Using our very technical scoop and scrape technique, spreading that onto the pastry. Keep going, Greg.
Oh, I just thought I need to work reasonably quickly so the pastry doesn't. Probably gave me the lion's share, but didn't want to run out.
Could do a bit more. Not too much?
We'll make it fit.
So you can see what we're doing is folding our pastry over, and then we're joining our edges, and then we're putting a few little air holes in there as well. Just shaping it a little bit. I'm just going to wash my hands for a second. Now, once you've done this with a class, you'll actually find them trying to put this all together on a baking tray so that it fits, a challenge in itself. So that you can see that what we're doing is when we have the class, we often make sure the students come up and watch the demonstration so that they can hear what we're saying, but they also have a visual in which they can see how to do what we're asking. And they're going to go in the oven for about 15 minutes. Nearly done. A bit more egg for that glazing, changing that colour. This is my artistic skills coming in here. Just throwing the egg on. And that's going to go in the oven. We're going to open the oven door completely. That sits in the top in a landscape position, and then we close it without slamming. So if we're looking at the clock, we can count down 15 minutes to remember that. But if you need to write it down because you're not going to remember, that's fine, you can write it down. I'll come back in 15 and I'll show you what they look like. Welcome back everyone. Our chicken and corn triangles are done and the smell of the bacon is filling the room. So I've got my oven mitts on and I'm making sure my area is safe. I'm opening the oven door fully so that it doesn't bounce back. Oh, they look lovely. Again, I'm sure you wish you were in here so that you could go in and have one, but you are not. I'm going to close that oven door fully without it banging. Take my oven mitts off and I'm going to turn the temperature and the fan off. Oh, I'm going to put my oven mitts back on because if I'm wanting them to cool just a little quicker, I'm going to pull that paper off and take that tray away, and then that will cool a little bit quicker. So that's our chicken and corn triangles done.